Okay, everybody, you did it. You were smart. You turned to this channel so that you could watch Act 3 right now here on Rogers Television. And we're delighted that you did join us this time around because we've got, as usual, some pretty amazing guests. Today we're going to talk to some of our community members about some serious subjects, as well as a few really fun ones that'll get your artistic thoughts moving and grooving as we move into fall. And we start what I like to call the best part of the season. Not only is it autumn, but it's the time for us to feel refreshed, to learn a little something new, and to do something we probably have not done in a really long time. That means you're going to get in, get cozy, have another beverage, enjoy the program, and thanks for tuning in.
I'm sitting on the edge of love and happiness. Never experienced such a moment as this. So if you got that good feeling in your body and you want to bring this moment to life, come with me, we'll hit the town. Let's go right now and live the life. I just want to shine like the sky up like a sunset, living with no regrets. I just want to shine.
Thank you very much, Kathy, and thank you to our viewers for joining us for our new season. This is very exciting, and I'm joined today with a new guest, someone that hasn't been to the show, but I'm excited to have him. He is with Seawolves Men's Cancer Pack. His name is Greg Brown. Greg, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Seawolves Men's Cancer Pack. For our viewers, the people that aren't familiar with it, tell us a little bit about it.
So we are a island-based, Nanaimo specifically, men's cancer, not-for-profit. We are men with cancer, helping men with cancer here on the island. So all of us have walked in their shoes. And really, it's just about cancer sucks. I don't care what age, what sex you are. However, the reality is men deal with their health or don't deal with their health, prefer not to deal with their health, and it has significant consequences. Also, furthermore, cancer, as terrible as the treatments are physically, the worst part about cancer is what goes on up here in the mind. So we don't want men to isolate. That's a big part of what we do. And you were asking a bit earlier on about how did the wolf pack sort of evolve or sea wolf evolve? Because wolves don't leave their young and vulnerable behind. And what's more representative of Vancouver Island than the sea wolf? So that's sort of how we evolved.
It's been 3 years running. There's been some good response in the community. Your collection of men joining the group increases every year.
It's a bit of a mixed bag, if you will. We take comfort knowing that the message is getting out. So men are reaching out to us from that, but then it's also indicative of the need that is out there. And we know we haven't even scratched the surface. But having said that, we are frankly overwhelmed with the support we've had from the community. We are entirely donor-based, so we don't receive any grants or any other funding. We're entirely volunteer-based, so we don't have any staff. So we are we need the support of the community in order to be effective. And like I said, we're overwhelmed with the support we've received, not just in Nanaimo, but all across the island.
And it's worth noting, Seawolves, this is island-wide. You're based out of the Mid-Island region here in Nanaimo, but it is island-wide. And let's talk about some of those services and things that you make available to men that are going through these battles. What are some of the things that the Seawolves offers?
I'd say we have sort of three primary focuses, if you will. So from a financial perspective, our treatment or chemo backpack program is a big part of it. The next is how do we provide emotional support to men going through cancer, and we do that through a variety of means, whether it's social or meetups. And lastly, but not least, is advocating for men, because while men are terrible about looking after their health, the health system, they haven't done themselves any favors by not advocating for themselves. So quite frankly, men's cancer support is way underfunded, way under-resourced, and quite frankly, some of the battles that men have to go through just to get treatment is discriminatory. So backpacks, really these are backpacks filled with comfort items for men going through, whether it's chemotherapy, radiation, things like blankets, toques, ginger chews for nausea, electrolytes, reading materials. Because when you're sitting in that chair for hours on end with this poison pumping through your veins to sort of cure you, the only thing that's happening is you're trapped in your own mind. So we want men to avoid isolation, know that they're not alone. We have some contact material should they choose to reach out to us. We supply all the cancer centers from Campbell River all the way down to Victoria with these backpacks free of charge, and to the Cancer Lodge as well.
It's interesting because as someone experiencing cancer for the first time, they would have no idea that these might be items that are going to help them physically, even in their battle, much less the kind of mental, emotional supports that your group offers. I want to give us a chance here. We have a fundraiser coming up for Seawolves. Tell us a little bit about that. There's also an opportunity maybe people can volunteer. Like you said yourself, this is all donation based.
So we're not shy. We're pretty prominent on social media. So we have a website, seawolvesmenscancer.ca. So pretty much any event is on there. People can donate through the site. People can find out information about where there's meetings, or they can reach out to us through that. There are our emails right on there as well. We have an Instagram and a Facebook page where we talk about different things that we've got going on. And again, it's all Seawolves Men's Cancer, easy to find.
Absolutely. And they can find information, the fundraiser coming up in September, they can find on those same sites, Instagram and Facebook as well?
Yeah, so September 27th down at Wolf Brewing. Wolf Brewing, beer, guys, sort of fits, but it is a family event. So we have barbecue, live bands, all local bands. The music scene here in Nanaimo is killer. And I would recommend that all the bands. So the first band is members from our Seawolves Cancer Pack. So these are all guys with cancer. The second guy up had, and he's going to correct me every time because every year I get it wrong, but it was either tongue or throat cancer. You'd never know what to hear him sing. He's an amazing singer. Third guy up, his wife has breast cancer, and last guy, or the last band, like I said, it's worth. We've had noise complaints. So
all right, well, let's get our community out there. That's an opportunity. They can visit your various sites to get more information on that. And Greg, thank you so much, not only for the work you're doing in the community, but for coming here to join us and share some more information. Seawolves, once again, Greg Brown's been with us, and we are moving on now to Jeremy.
Thanks, Kevin. It's great to hear about men working together to do good stuff for their community. And I've got a man who's working to do great stuff for our community. It might be our first episode of a new season, but I'm bringing back one of our greatest hits in Nanaimo, former Mayor Bill McKay. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Jeremy. Thank you very much for the intro. It's a pleasure to be here today.
It's my pleasure to have you. We love having you at Act 3. You're one of our previous guests. What are you here to tell me about today?
I'm here to talk about Stone Soup and Wisteria Community Association and the efforts that they're underway building their new kitchen.
For folks that might not be familiar, Bill, what is Stone Soup and the Wisteria Community Association?
Stone Soup is an organization that every night goes out into the community and feeds homeless people. They don't wait for them to come to them. They actually have a number of drop-off points around the community that they actually go park their van with the food they've prepared that day and supply it to the folks who really need it.
And they've been active in the community for quite some time.
They have. They started out in the back alley at Wisteria Lane, as it was called. There were some challenges with bylaws, so they decided to open a kitchen, and now they're opening their second kitchen.
When folks really put their heads together, they can accomplish great things. What's going on at Wisteria right now? Why are you here?
Well, I've been a supporter of Stone Soup and Wisteria since day one, when I was on council and when I was in the mayor's chair. You need to spread the resources around the community, because if you don't, then you end up with silos of organizations who may not be dealing with all of the people that need their help. I really got interested in it because of something that a former premier, Mike Harcourt, said. He said, every one of us is either a relationship, a job, or an illness away from needing their community's help. And that really stuck with me.
Truer words have never been spoken. What kind of help are you guys hoping to be able to provide this year? What's coming up on the agenda?
Well, the big challenge is getting this kitchen done. They're behind the eight ball for funding. Funding has been scarce this year. They have not received any government funding, so it's completely relying on private donors. and corporate sponsors. All of the food, or most all of the food, is donated from different stores in the community. However, one of the challenges that creates is that it's getting close to expiry, so they have to use it up as quickly as they possibly can. The other thing they do is they try to support the people that they see every day. Did you call your mom today? Have you spoken to your family in the last little while? So many of the homeless people are disconnected from their families and their support groups. So that's one of the things that they make sure that people are doing. They also take out, they've had out a couple of times now, and they're continuing to monitor it. Branch 256 Legion here in Nanaimo have got representatives that are going out with them to see if they can locate Legion members and veterans that need help, perhaps through other avenues that the Legion can offer.
So there's a lot of folks that really benefit from Wisteria Community Association's work and from the direct outreach that they're doing. We're running a little short on time, Bill, but if somebody wants to donate and support Stone Soup, how can they do that?
There's a number of different ways online. The website to go to is wisteriacommunityassociation.com, and they can take a number of different forms of payment or even all of your inquiries. Always looking for volunteers as well.
Perfect. We've got that just on the bottom of the screen for folks that might be interested. I want to thank you, Bill McKay, for coming back to us. We're going to toss it over to Kathy, who's got another exciting guest today.
Well, thank you so much, Jeremy and Bill. I'm so glad that you're doing the great work at Wisteria Community Association. They do a lot. There is no doubt about that. But the guest that I have does a lot too. And this is a really important subject that we're going to talk about right now. I have with me Joanne Kelmer. She's with Moms Stop the Harm, as well as the Cowichan Cat team. How are you, Joanne? I'm so glad you're here.
I'm good. Thank you. It's good to be here.
You know, this has been a really important time because it is I don't want to call it a celebration, but it's an acknowledgement, isn't it, of what's been happening with the overdose situation in our communities all over British Columbia. Tell us a little bit about what has happened recently.
We've just had our National Overdose Awareness Day, which is national, so all across Canada. So all various groups, your Moms Stop the Harm groups, your community action teams, which I'm a member of, host different events. So we hosted a Purple Ribbon Day, and our hosting and our hoping was just to provide a place for people to come, hang a little heart on a tree, and talk to people who care. We had providers there, service providers, and we had a pharmacist there to ask and answer questions too, so it was very good.
It's so important that people understand the situation. It's so important people ask those questions. And I noticed your shirt says, I carry naloxone because I care. Tell us a little bit about what that means.
Well, naloxone is a substance that the pharmacist will give you for free. And if you see somebody who is in the middle of an opioid overdose, they will be non-responsive. And you can stab them with your naloxone pen and buy some time. It's just adrenaline. It can't hurt you if you're not having an overdose, but it will save lives and does save lives. And we are really promoting naloxone as part of everybody's first aid kit. It should be in your first aid kit at work, in your car, wherever you have a first aid kit.
And I carry it in my car all the time for that very reason, because it really is, we really can save a life.
Yes.
But there's other things that can help save lives, and particularly as it relates to breaking the stigma, asking those questions. So let's talk a little bit about, there's an event coming up, so I want to talk about that. But before I do, what exactly is Moms Stop the Harm?
So Moms Stop the Harm is an advocacy group that was created by mums as they started to lose their children. And just as an aside, there's approximately 6 people lost to opioid poisoning a day in BC. So there's a lot of mums and a lot of families hurting. So they've created an advocacy group, and under this advocacy group is 2 peer-led support groups. We have a Holding Hope, which I co-facilitate, that's hard to say, in Duncan with another friend of mine, and we have Holding Hope. So Holding Hope is for those families and people who have loved ones who are actively using substances, and it's support for us. And Healing Hearts is a facilitated group for those who have lost their loved ones and are in the throes of grief. Both are very busy and very important.
Very important. And one more thing, and I know we're just about out of time, so I want to be real clear on getting an event that's coming out, and I think it's called Beyond...
Better Together.
Better Together.
Better Together 2.0 in the Cowichan Community Centre on October 28th. I think we're calling it The Unfiltered Truth. We're promoting and targeting youth and substance use and abuse, including alcohol, marijuana, cigarette smoking, and of course harder drugs. So please come.
Yes, absolutely. You know, I think that when we're looking at trying to save lives and trying to do something impactful in our community, the best thing that we can do is to do it with knowledge. Knowledge is really important, but so is taking a moment to grieve those that we have already lost. And so I just would like for us all just to take a quick moment to just take that breath as we move on to our next guest and hear a little piece of poetry with our upcoming guest. Lloyd, you're up.
Well, thank you very much, Kathy. And today we're very pleased to have with us Elise Boulanger, who's a singer in Nanaimo. And in fact, I saw her a couple of weeks ago at the Diana Krall Plaza. Very, very nice. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself and also a poem that she's going to be reciting today called The Ghost of Piper's Lagoon, that just happened to be written by moi. So, Elise, take it away.
Thank you, Lloyd. Hello. I am a musician, singer, composer, environmental activist, and I have been invited by a special someone to recite The Ghost of Piper's Lagoon. It is about a sailor who sets for the sea and he finds a woman in a tavern and they fall in love. He quickly is enraptured again by the sea where he spends many years, but the two pine away and then he returns one day. And it's special for me. I grew up close to Piper's Lagoon and it has a very rich history.
Yeah, okay. Okay, great. So why don't you just start the poem?
Excellent. In a time long past, but ne'er too far, sailed the ships on the winds, mercurial they are. As done since before that mighty Troy did fall, stalwart ships, manned by stalwarts all. They fought for life itself on the wine dark sea, faith in the ship's ancient structure defining be or not be. Guided by that canopy appearing at night, following the star that shone so bright. But once, as this timeless story be told, there was a young maid, beautiful to behold, her charm surpassing even Calypso, some did say, who worked in a tavern in a port on a western bay. There then came on a midsummer's day a sailor on shore for only a short stay. A stout Scotsman of the Wallace clan, with the kilt and tartan as all his kinsmen. They stay together, joined at the soul, a primordial story, one many have told. But life is time, and time comes to an end, a fundamental fact causing all to rend. He awoke one day to the call of the sea, and knew right then this life not longer could be, but he could not explain why they had to part, why he had to throw asunder her trusting heart. In his eyes the innocent maiden could perceive that which drives him to the sea, the danger, the wonder, the mystery. All things to him, she may never be. Through many years and many seas, the memory of the maid would not let him be. And like the albatross around his neck, he bore the guilt of that life that was never built. But he knew his solitude could no longer be. No longer could he sail the sea. So his bearing he took from that star so bright, and sailed all day and sailed all night. How could he know the maid long pined away? Had waited and waited each day by each day. And sometimes in a storm on the rocks at night, would unrelentingly wave her lantern, a beacon, a light. One evening, while sitting by the fire at the end of the day, the night turned black, and she knew right away. Like the countless times since man did first go down to the sea, she shone her beacon from the rocks in hopes her sailor would see. But the winds blew simply too strong, and the waves did so swell and throng. How long she stood, for her light did extinguish. How long is one's being from its start to its finish? And the sea dashed the ship on the rocks with terrible might, and the waves smashed the hull without respite. It went down and down fast, not making a pause, driven by the dictates of nature's immutable laws. Legend says there were no survivors, perhaps a few, but he stayed with the ship as captains were wont to do, and he went down to the deep, but not to sleep, for his longing for the maiden he was still to meet. And when the wind starts to howl and the waves churn, when the night becomes black and the home fires burn, the haunting sound of the pipes can sometimes be heard, and a sailor and a light from those rocks, though the vestiges be blurred. Was it passion, love, age, or the sea? It matters not in the end. What will be, will be. Or was it set in the stars since before time began? Unstoppable, no matter, we do what we can.
Wow, that was very good. And I just wonder, like every time you say, was it passion, love, age, you kind of look at me, like, what does that mean? Like there's no Q in there, right? So, Elise, what are the future plans for the poem? Are we going to be doing a recording, and how would people get a hold of one?
Well,
before Halloween, of course.
This is only an abridged version, so we'll do the whole poem, and that will be shared some way, somehow. So you can check on my website for more, eliseboulanger.com. Thank you, Lloyd.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Elise. And it gave me goosebumps. Your reading was excellent. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Lloyd. What an amazing poem. It was really moving. Thank you for sharing it. And now I am here with the incredible Maureen Robinson, who may be familiar to our guests because she's been on the show before with ACT Theatre, but she is here for something completely different this evening. Maureen, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we're delighted to have you, and we're so excited to talk about your work as an author. You are a novelist, and you've got several books out.
I am a novelist. I am writing a series called Van Isle Mysteries.
Wow.
So yeah, and it's been a ride. I've thoroughly enjoyed writing. I have the first 3 books that are coming out.
Fantastic.
It's been a journey, a learning curve in every way possible, but yeah, it's been a blast.
Well, it sounds wonderful, and I've had a sneak peek at some of your books, and they are pretty good. So you call them Van Isle Mysteries, and you've got 3 out.
Yes.
The first one is Lost and Foundling 101.
That's right.
And then Knife Skills 102 and Strain Theory 103.
Yes, yes. So curious, the 101, the 102, 103 refer to my protagonist, Jody Crook's career as a criminologist at Vancouver Island University.
That's fantastic. Jody is at VIU. That's wonderful, and I think our watchers and listeners will really enjoy that. And I think you've really set all 3 books, and the 4th one that's going to be coming out soon, here in Nanaimo. That's tremendous. So what different locations have you used?
Well, Nanaimo proper, certainly the RCMP detachment.
Wow.
In fact, the curmudgeonly cop that's always having to work with her works there. I've had Qualicum, different areas going out to Ladysmith and Duncan, but she is core to Nanaimo, so that's where the stories unfold for the most part.
No, and it's wonderful. And your protagonist as well is not just set here in Nanaimo, but she's got some interesting qualities. So real quick, she's a criminologist, but she also has some other superpowers, shall we say?
Yes. So she's a PhD criminologist, but she also did a 100-hour online practicum to become a private investigator, which is, that is her dream job after 8 years of university. And then she also sees auras.
Sees auras.
Or she calls it aura vision.
That's amazing. I think our watchers and listeners will be very keen to understand what that is. But before we run out of time, I just wanted to get into how you've managed to move these books forward. I know that speaking with a lot of writers in town, it's a tough business getting into publishing. But you've managed to get 3 books out. And what's your journey been like?
The journey hasn't been all easy. It's been a great deal of reading, a great deal of research. Basically, I have gone the road of the indie writer, which means I'm self-published. I'm using an aggregator called Draft to Digital, which is where I've loaded my books up. The ebooks have been released. The paper books take a little while longer. I went so far as to make a mistake in one of the books on the ISBN numbers, so it'll take even longer still. But yeah, it's an interesting journey, and it makes you realize that writing is also a business.
It is.
And you have to look at the marketing side and all of that.
But it's also a pleasure. So if our watchers and viewers and listeners would like to get hold of your books, where can they find them?
On all of the platforms, Amazon, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, Ingram Sparks. And you can also get in touch with me through my website at vanislemysteries.com.
vanislemysteries.com. Well, it has been a pleasure to have you here, Maureen, and it's going to be even more of a pleasure for me to read all of your books. I'm looking forward to it, and talking more in the future about your wonderful work.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you for being here.
I can't believe that that is the very beginning of season 5, episode 1, but we sure hope you had a good time. I know I did. I just want to take a couple of moments to talk about a few things that are important in our community. You know, on the show, we talked a little bit about cancer, about the opioid crisis. We talked about, you know, some joyful things like poetry and reading books and doing some wonderful things. But what we also have to remember is while we're going through all of this, we know that some of our friends in our community aren't having such an easy time of it. The Mount Underwood fires and the Mount Wesley fires were quite devastating to many of our friends up in Port Alberni and in the area, especially Bamfield, where they have lost a lot of their beautiful, rugged terrain is now gone. And so my prayer for all of us is that when we're out and about, we remember that some of our friends are really, you know, in need of a little extra support. So if you happen to see anything or notice anything, of course, please remember to be emergency prepared means to know what's happening in your community. So please do reach out and find out what you can about what's happening in your hood. But I also want you to just to take a moment to say, hey, here we are at a brand new season. We're at the beginning of a new year. And for some of us who have celebrated birthdays during this wonderful September season, myself included, I want to do a shout out to all those in September and October that are celebrating another turn around the globe. And for our friends that didn't quite make it this time, we know that you're in our hearts and that you walk with us every day. To my dear friend Arlene, who passed away just very, very recently after 40 years of friendship, you know I'll always love you. And everyone who's experiencing something like she did, know that your friends and family love you too. So thanks again for tuning in to Act 3. We're all in this together, and we really, really appreciate your viewing. So make sure you share it. Watch us on YouTube. Check us out on our radio show on CHLY 101.7 FM, and that's for Act 3. And just, you know, read us in our magazine. Like, there's a lot of ways to get connected, and make sure that you are working through Rogers to see the other great programming as well. Thanks again, everybody. Have yourself a marvelous day, and we'll see you next time. Oh, by the way, I forgot. I won't be here in October. Kevin's taking the lead. It's going to be a blast. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Act 3.